Well, I guess yeah. I'm gonna put it live, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, cool.
All right, we're live. I don't know. I don't know if anyone's actually happens
Okay,
watching.
cool.
All right, we're live. I don't know. I don't know if anyone's actually happens
Okay,
watching.
cool.
All right, we're live. Great. I don't know. Audio's still looping. Why is the audio looping? I don't know if. Okay, so yeah, as far as I can tell, you and I are the only ones here. Yeah, I turned it off now. Um, the cost of that is that nobody can hear you um, in the live stream. Um, hey, we've got another person. Great. Now I've actually got to do something with this, which doesn't seem to be working very well. Yeah. So yeah, there's a person. Hello, person. There's a chat box. Should be a chat box immediately to the right side of the video, so you can chat in there. Um, if we don't get more people, then I figure we might as well just all do a hangout and say screw it for the whole recording. And live streaming. Oh yeah, and the third person just left anyways. Where is that audio coming from? That's where it was coming from. Okay, so as of now, people ought to be able to hear you again, Will.
Okay.
So, yeah, the stream runs like several seconds behind
Yeah, I'm seeing that now.
real time, which is annoying, but I don't think there's anything I can actually do about that. That's just YouTube. Um,
Yeah. I mean, if you break the audio on the actual YouTube video, I don't know if you're watching it at the same time. I guess you are for the chat box on the side. But yeah, I just turned the audio off so we
yeah,
can communicate
right.
via Spreed. So
Yeah, yeah. So there's nobody watching except us.
Well, I've got it's saying right here 3 people watching.
Mine says, oh, there, a third. Okay. So yeah, we got a third person. So yeah, third person. Sound off in the chat to the right of the video and let us know who you are. And yeah, if you have any questions, ask them in the chat.
Hello, hello. Anybody out there?
Yeah, I made you a moderator in the chat, Will. Congratulations. Ah, a fourth person. Welcome. Let us know who you are in the chat to the right of the video and ask any questions you may have. Um, right now, we're just kind of waiting for more people to show up. If we. Hi there. Marvin says hello.
Hello, Marvin.
So, yeah, definitely trying new things out once again. Um, let me full screen this. So, I don't know how well anything is working. Welcome, once upon a time. I know that there's a substantial lag between the stream and real time, so I apologize for that. I don't think there's nothing I can do about that. I can make the lag longer manually, but that's not useful. Um,
Yeah.
I can't make it any shorter than it is now. So, okay, great. Thanks, Marvin. So, yeah, we're just doing this super informal. And again, just open chat. Anyone can ask questions and we'll answer them. If you want to poke through the code, then I'm prepared to do that. Um, if you just want to ask about the technology and discuss that, we can do that. So yeah, whatever people want to do. Um, I'm not sure. Once upon a time, when you say your visual is only half the screen, are you referring to the fact that the bottom of the video is all gray? Because that's just what our um, video conference looks like. I can make that. Can change it, but I don't know that that's really what we want. Yeah, yeah. I think we'll just leave it that way. Yeah. So the bottom half being gray is just that's what it looks like when we've only got the two people in there. So, supposedly there is a another person watching, a fifth watcher. So why don't you sound off in the chat, whoever you are, and feel free to ask any questions you might have. If you want to join to talk, I can add you. I don't know if there's a way to send private messages. Um, so I guess I'll just tell everyone. And yeah, if you want to join, then you can join. So yeah, you go
Yeah,
to
I think that's cool.
this URL. I'm gonna drop it in the chat. There you go. Hmm. Okay. Let me call you in. Stop that. There we go. Hi there.
Hello. Hi.
All right. So,
Hello.
welcome.
Hello. Somebody else calling?
Not at the moment, I don't think.
Hello.
Do we have anyone other? Oh, yeah, there is another one. Okay,
Somebody
great.
else calling?
They left. All right.
Oh,
Okay. So, I'm assuming it's just the three of us and Marvin at this point.
Well, I say we just kick things off. If people want to show up and join, let them. They know where it is now. So.
Yeah. So,
Well, I say we just kick things off. If people want to show up and join.
okay. Do you guys hear me live?
yeah. Yeah, I can
Yep.
hear you.
Okay. Okay. Well, I've been hearing about Follow My Vote for years now, and I don't know anything about it, so I'm here to learn.
All right. Well, great. Thanks for joining us.
That's only water.
So, So yeah, the high-level overview is that Follow My Vote is building open-source end-to-end verifiable online voting software. That software can be used for all kinds of voting, from customer survey, polling, to political elections, and everything in between.
Yeah.
And so the one of the use cases where the security especially becomes incredibly relevant is political voting, and so that's one of our major use cases that we talk about. But our software can be used for, or will be able to be used for, all kinds of voting eventually. So um, everything is all of our system is based on blockchain technology. I don't know if you're familiar with that at all.
Yeah, sure I am.
Okay.
Um,
And
are you on two teams now then, Nathan?
no, I'm working only on Follow My Vote at the moment. I was on the BitShares team for quite a while, about a year,
Right.
and I I switched to Follow My Vote full time pretty much a little bit after Graphene was stabilized, a little bit before BitShares 2 launched.
Oh, because I saw you recently in an interview. Where at
Yeah, the Daily Decrypt.
was it Daily Decrypts? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, she was looking for someone who knew about the prediction markets, and well, I wrote a lot of them, so I know a fair bit
Right.
about them, and I did that interview because yeah, they needed someone, and I could do it. So yeah.
So how long have you
Michelle
been on the
Jones
Follow
says
My
my
Vote?
voice is very faint, so sorry about that. I don't know
There you go.
if
That's
I can.
that's much better. Your voice is a lot clearer, stronger.
All right, great. Sorry about that.
How long have you been full time on Follow My Vote?
Uh, Probably it's a little less than a year now. Um,
Yeah. Is that at Virginia Tech?
yeah. So Follow My Vote is based in Blacksburg, Virginia, which is where Virginia Tech is. Right now, I'm actually in
Right.
Austin, Texas,
Oh.
and I'm working remotely.
uh, well, I live in a remote region, so I do all my work remotely too.
Yeah,
So
it's the way to go.
a lot more remote than us. A lot more remote than us in Texas. How
Yep.
many people are in the chat now?
Looks like it's the three of us and Michelle Jones. So Michelle, I don't
Okay.
know
Yep.
if you can see the chat history from before you joined. Uh, if you can, the chat is to the right of the chat is to the right of the video, and well, I guess you know that you're typing in it. Um, and there's a link to join the conference if you want to join us live with video and audio. And if not, then please feel free to add questions to the chat. Oh, looks like we've got another one in the. No, I guess not. Okay.
Let them, Cool. So, Nathan, you were saying, I guess you were talking about your experience on the BitShares blockchain. I guess, where do we want to go with this conversation?
Uh, yeah. So I worked on BitShares for quite a while. Dan Larimer and I developed and designed and implemented the Graphene blockchain framework. And after that, I switched to Follow My Vote, primarily because of the vision behind the company of Follow My Vote, and I realized that I was very much aligned with what Follow My Vote is trying to do, which is ultimately to um, help set people free, to help people to
Mm.
take control of their lives and their destinies, and make of the world what they want. And so that was what attracted me to Follow My Vote. And since then, I've been helping to implement their technology. The designs were there from before I formally joined Follow My Vote, and now we're just building out the technology. We've got another person. Let me add them to the call. So, hello, fourth person. I'm not hearing you, and I can't see you. Uh, yeah. So, do you have any other questions or anything else in particular you were interested in?
Well, what's going to be the next practical application for Follow My Vote? What do you got in?
Well, our first practical application is going to be our stake weighted voting system. So that would be obviously useful to BitShares. People can make polls and vote in those polls where their votes are weighted by how many BitShares they own, which I think will be a better way
Right,
to decide what to do with BitShares, and how to direct development resources than arguing on the forum.
right,
And that allows simultaneously more free-form types and more um, complex types of questions than the worker proposals allow. And it also just allows us to have polls that the community can vote on where those polls don't actually affect the printing of new bit shares. So that's
and
also
does
useful
Follow My
since
Vote scale to any number of users now? Can there be millions or a couple of
um,
billion voters on any topic?
in theory, there should be no problem with that. It should be able to scale as much as graphene itself can. Um, we don't know exactly how far graphene can scale, but I think we've got plenty of headspace for quite a while.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm sometimes you have to keep things quiet, but I got a real shock. Graphene is absolutely wonderful. I love it, but when it went from BitShares 1 to BitShares 2, I lost pretty significant investment in the Moonstone wallet.
Yeah,
So I could have used some heads up on that, but I've accepted it. I have accepted it because Graphene is or BitShares 2 is so much better than BitShares 1.
right.
But I wish there was some way of not having to go through that again.
Yeah. So,
I had also been I, I had also been paying for translations into Greek, Italian, and I was aiming for Turkish and Iranian for the BitShares 101 booklet. So I really shelled out a bunch of money for those translations when all of a sudden it's all irrelevant.
yeah, yeah. That was an unfortunate transition that
Yes,
it had to be
it's
made.
worth it.
The BitShares one code
Yes,
base
and
couldn't be maintained for much longer, but
yeah,
yeah. Okay, do we have
Yeah,
another
so it'll
person
be
in the?
interesting to see what happens with Lisk because that's what they're using, right? For their big new, and they raised a hell of a lot of money for it. You familiar with
Lisk.
Lisk?
I'm not familiar with them. No.
Lisk. No. I think they've forked off of Crypty, and
Okay.
they Crypty took the BitShares uh, one code and rewrote it somewhat and started their project, and then Lisk has just forked off of them, and they raised a lot of money, like
Hmm.
thousands of Bitcoin.
Wow.
We'll see.
Well, good luck to them. I'll have to look at their project.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So we do
So
have
it
a
looks like we
question in
got
the
some
chat,
more
which
comments.
is
Yeah.
if implemented nationwide, how will Follow My Vote affect the average American? And the answer to that question is it's hard to say, but we can predict several effects. One of which would be what we're hoping for is that the two-party system will get shaken up a bit. So the reason for that would be that Follow My Votes uh, protocol allows for people to cast their votes and count the votes in real time before the polls close. And so they can see live results, basically. And then you can change your vote. So if you support a third party candidate, which we think a lot of people probably do, but you would be afraid to vote for them if you had to stick to that because you don't want to risk wasting your vote on a candidate who can't win. You can cast your vote and then see how the support is stacking up. If they have a chance of winning, you can leave your vote be. And if they don't have a chance of winning, then you can change your vote to someone else who you think you would support based on who you think has a decent shot. And so that would be one effect. Another thing is simply the ability to change your vote based on new information, right? You watch a new debate close to the election day, and your opinion changes, and you want to change who you're voting for. And of course, issues are the same way, right? Issues would probably be a more relevant case for that. Maybe you learn something new about an issue and you want to change your stance on that issue. So, with Follow My Vote system, you would be able to change your stance on that and change your vote before
Hmm.
the polls close. And in fact, we
So
could
Nathan,
also just run unofficial elections after the polls close just to track public support on various things in an informal manner after the polls close and just keep track of things that way.
but yeah, I mean, as a perfect example, we have all these Panama Papers coming out, and we're seeing, you know, prime ministers step down, and some American politicians might get exposed. Um, so just imagine if that had happened at any point during, you know, the actual time where you had already cast your vote, and then you would have found out, you know, some
Right.
essentially enlightening information can be shown about a candidate, which would cause you to change your mind, want to vote, you know, a different way. And I think the Panama Papers is a perfect example, you know.
Yeah, although according to We Are Change, the Panama Papers actually tracks back to a lot of the same major organizations that control United States politics and
It's
lobbying
it's
and
a
media.
it's a psyop in my opinion.
Yeah, so the Panama Papers might just be a disinfo campaign.
Yes. Well, it's true info, but it's
Possibly.
it's a psyop.
Yeah.
So do you guys run elections yourself, or do you sell software?
We primarily um, make and support and upgrade software. So Running elections, we will certainly provide support for that, but ultimately it's going to be clients of ours who are interested in actually running an election, right? So that could be a government that wants to run an election. It could be a company that wants to do shareholder voting. It could be the BitShares community.
Right. So if a city wanted to do polls of its citizens, you could tell them follow my vote, and you would be there while they set it up. But then after that, they'd be able to do it year after year on their own.
Right.
You think?
Yeah.
Or would you be required to be holding their hand forever after?
So we could work with them to come up with something that works and fits their needs. By default, if you want to just use our standard applications and all of that stuff, you will have to pay us for listing your contests. Now, of course, everything is open source. So if you want to implement everything yourself, or if you want to set up all of your own servers and make your own app and all of that, you can do that. That's just a lot more work, and if you're some city, you may not want to engage in all of that. You might rather just pay us to do it for you.
Right.
But if you're
So
sufficiently technically savvy, then you could do that. The
well, I
hard
would
part
suppose
there,
most major cities have their own tech teams.
yeah. So the hardest part there is probably actually going to be getting network effect for your uh, clone of our system. Um, because you'll have to convince all the people who you want to vote to download and install your app, um, which is not ours, probably in addition to ours. So
I see. So say it was say your services were engaged by a city, say Austin, Texas, to do their civic elections and to do polling of citizens. How would it work? Would each citizen have something downloaded on their laptop, or would there be polling stations with the where you would go to do the voting?
well, you can do both or either. Um, Ideally, from a decentralized security standpoint, it would be optimal if there was no centralized polling location, and everyone just voted from their own device, because that makes it harder to attack multiple users at a time, right? If there's multiple voters going to a single polling location and using the same hardware, then if I can compromise that computer, I can compromise all of their votes. Of course, with our system, everything is verifiable and auditable after the fact, so they would be able to see if they checked that their vote had been changed. But that's only if they check it. So ideally,
Right.
it would be each user voting on their own hardware. However, um, we can certainly build a system which securely resets itself and allows multiple voters to come through and use that same kiosk, basically. And that could be set
Yeah.
up in a central polling location, or anyone could run one, right? I mean, Walmart could set one up if they wanted to and just let people use that. The question then, of course, is do you trust Walmart enough to use their hardware to vote?
Um, who was the founder? What was the founder's name? Was it Adam?
Adam Ernest, yeah, he's
Yeah, Adam.
the
Adam.
well, a co-founder and CEO.
Right. He's done presentations to some political venues in California, hasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, and he did a presentation to the Pirate Party in Finland or
Norway.
Norway. Right, right, right. So is anybody going to go with it?
Go with our voting system.
Yes.
Well, Liberland has stated that they're going to at least beta test our system. Um,
Right.
But since it's still under development, nobody's really committing hardcore to using it yet because at the moment it's still a future thing. I don't want to say vaporware
Hmm.
because like here we are, we're people, we're writing code every day, but
Yeah.
it's still under development, and so people don't really, and I don't blame them, want to commit to using something that isn't actually available yet.
Right. So do you think one of the very first applications will be something inside of BitShares?
Well, yeah. Initially, our stake-weighted voting system will be launched on BitShares. Yeah, and so BitShares will be the first users.
I see. But you'll follow my vote will have its own blockchain, though, right? Or will it be using BitShares?
Eventually, we will probably have our own blockchain. For very large-scale elections, it becomes kind of necessary because if you've got millions of voters coming through, then the blockchain fees get to be fairly substantial for that. And for for instance, political elections, you can't have the individual voters paying their fees. Those fees will have to be paid by the government running the election, and so those costs would build up to be too high. It's a lot cheaper than
Yeah.
the way governments are doing voting today. A lot cheaper, but it's not
Right.
competitive in the online voting space.
Uh huh. And what are the mechanics? Is every say it was being done by the city of Austin? Would every citizen in Austin be issued a token which they would spend as their vote or something like that? Is that how it works?
No. So our system involves there's a two-step registration process. The first one has the voters identifying themselves and getting certified as unique and authorized to vote.
Yeah.
The second registration step is where they anonymize themselves and they get a key certified that is known, publicly known to belong to one of those certified, verified identities, but nobody knows which one owns which voter key. And so
Yeah.
they can use that voter key to sign votes, and then they'll just broadcast those votes as data transactions to the blockchain, and our
Uh huh.
software will pick those up and tally them in real time, and that's how the voting will be done at a technical level.
So there's going to be constantly a running tally of the vote that any voter can see at all times,
Yep.
right from the when the first votes go through. I
Hmm.
wonder how that's going to change the psychology of elections.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying to Michelle's question. How will follow my vote affect the average American? And yeah, if you can see live results as votes are being cast, and then you can change your vote and replace it, um, yeah, that's going
Right,
to
but there's also
shake things up a lot.
the psychology. There's
Right.
a psychology that everybody likes to back a winner too. So
Right.
it could it could change elections in all kinds of different interesting ways that we don't know.
Yeah. Well, and ultimately we're open to experimentation. We're happy to try different things. Um, but in general, I find that just in life, it seems to be that giving people more information is usually not a bad thing. Um, Having more information usually yields better results.
Yes, for most people or for a good portion of the population, but there's part of the population that could probably do with less information.
Michelle
I
Jones
would think.
says, "You make a good point, although some of us like the underdog too." I don't know if you guys are
No, I'm
watching the
just
chat,
that
but
might be one outcome. I don't know what the psychology of this is going to be.
yeah, exactly. It opens up some interesting questions. It is technically possible to have the votes be hidden until the end, right? So then everyone would just encrypt their votes. Um, to a key that's held by either us or the election authority. Um, and then at the end, when the polls close, the election authority slash us publish the private key that all of the votes are encrypted to the blockchain. And at that point, everyone can decrypt all of those votes and count them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the obvious downside to doing that is that the election authority will know what the votes are. They won't know who voted how, right? All the anonymity is still there. They'll just know the preliminary results. And that has an unfortunate effect of they have access to that information that no one else has access to, which is generally something we prefer not to have, a property we prefer not to have in our system. We like to keep everything as open and public as possible at all times. With the exception being like personally identifiable information, right? All of that is kept private, but any transfer of PII is technically goes outside of our system anyways. We just put the voters in contact with the ID verifiers through our system. We don't actually handle that data directly. So, yeah. Any other questions, or I don't know. I don't know who all is in the live stream at this point, but
3 watching now.
yeah.
Yeah, let's just post in the chat and say, anyone have any last questions? So,
When did you decide to do this, and how did you try to advertise that this was going to take place? I just happened to be in Telegram and somebody posted it there, so
Yeah,
I dropped
yeah.
over.
This one was not particularly heavily marketed.
yeah.
Right.
We're still trying to figure out exactly how to do all of this. Anyways, as you can tell, it's not exactly a super fluid and clean experience. So yeah, we're last week we ended up the original event got broken and we couldn't use it. The original Hangout on Air, and so we just we didn't record it, and we just chatted with a bunch of people on a Hangout, and a few people weren't able to get in, and so this week we were trying the YouTube live streams instead. I think there's promise there, but I've got to figure out. Got to make some tweaks to get that working more smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and so where did you advertise this today?
I just had it published on Google Plus.
It's on our website as well.
Okay.
So if you look at, I don't know if you've seen our code contributor page, but down towards the bottom we have a link to the weekly tech hangout. So I guess currently we're just figuring out which platform suits our needs best, because we
Right.
have a bunch of different functionalities. We want to like have people be able to join the call if they want, but also we want some sort of a public live stream where some people can purely watch the video, where they don't have to join in the actual video chat, where they can just kind of post comments So that's kind of
Right.
our reasoning why we're doing mixing this live stream with YouTube. So
Right. Okay. Well, thank you. I'll sign out then. As I said, I didn't know that this was going to be happening, so I don't have any questions prepared. So
okay,
All
thanks,
right.
though. Bye.
Well,
Bye for now.
but
we're probably going to be doing something similar to this, I guess, every week, and we'll probably try to push them, market them better in the future.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know
Yeah.
for sure if we're
If you
going to be
post
doing
it,
them in at this time moving forward. We may do them at different time depending on what's convenient for people. So
right?
Hmm.
Ben Quixote,
Nathan, do you go to the Beyond Bitcoin hangouts on Friday morning?
Beyond Bitcoin Hangouts. No, I don't usually attend those.
What's called the Dev Hangout, right? That when Bytemaster does an hour Friday morning,
Right.
and
Yeah.
then
Hmm.
there's usually some other guests from some other community for an hour after that. No, you don't attend those? Okay. I thought you might. All right.
Uh.
Anyway, thanks a lot.
Yep. Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
All right. So
Cool.
Ben, are you
Looks like
streaming
Ben.
this through Mumble, or what are you streaming through Mumble exactly? Um, that's a decent idea. We could use Mumble for the conference call part of this instead of using and then just do audio only and not use video, which would simplify things
True.
on my end a little bit. It hasn't actually mattered because I haven't used any of the other environments that I've got set up for the broadcast. Like if people wanted to go through the code, then I was set up to do some walking through the code and showing people that stuff. But we never actually did that. So, all right, see ya, Michelle. Thanks for coming. So yeah, I'm guessing that pretty much wraps it up. I don't know if anyone else if anyone else has any questions. Oh, Marvin Murdoch asks, when is the parallel election starting? So that's going to be in November at some point. Um, I don't. We haven't set an exact date yet. Um, but
So I mean,
well, we'll be opening
we
it probably as
will.
soon as we can, really. Um, but if you
Yeah.
want to
So
be kept up to date on that, go to our sign up for the mailing list for the parallel election. That's just on our
I'll
homepage.
drop that link in there.
Yeah, we'll stick the link in the chat.
But yeah, I mean, it'd be awesome if we can get it fired up in October, even early October, or if if we if we're successful with the crowdfunding campaign, which everyone should hear about very soon. Um, we will be able to scale out the team and possibly get the project done even sooner. So I mean, if we could kick things off in October or September even, that would be crazy because then we would really prove out the early voting factor. And as we market the parallel election, people will be able to actively participate. So
Right.
I mean, the longer we can make the voting span, the better, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I agree with you there. So really, it boils down to how soon can we get the software ready for it, um, and enter plug. We can use all the help we can get. So if you can write code, please join us. Um, and that's one of the purposes of this chat is to help people to familiarize themselves with the code if they want to contribute, and and to help get people involved in our code contributor program. Um, Let me stick a link for that into the chat. That's our code contributor program there. And yeah, we're looking to get as much help on the technology as we can because right now it's Callie and I working on the code. I'm working on the back end stuff. Callie's working on the front end stuff, and it's it's proceeding. But the more help we can get, the sooner we'll be able to get the system up and running and be able to have that well, yeah, be able to have the parallel election going. So, yeah, I agree with Will that we definitely want to run that for as long as possible.
Cool, cool, cool.
I do apologize for the flicker inertia 186. We are experimenting with different ways of doing these chats. So I'm thinking next week we'll probably just not have video for the call, and we'll just do an audio only call, and hopefully with that I'll be able to um, we'll have better video to look at that involves less flickering. Um, I don't know exactly where the flicker is coming from. It might just be that my computer is struggling under the load. I don't know if that will help with the flickering at all. Doesn't look like it, no. Oops.
Cool, cool, cool. Well,
All right. Well, if there
that's
aren't
it's
any more
about an
questions, then I
hour.
think we're going to call it a night.
So, um, everybody look out for lots of messaging about the timing, what platform we're using. We'll have some updates on our social media platforms. So check our Twitter, Facebook, Google Plus. We will be announcing when the tech chat will be and where it will be. So watch out for that. We'll also have some links on the website. So next week, probably same time. So look out for that.
Yeah. Um, does the code contributor page mention this?
Yes, it does. It has a link towards the bottom. There's a button that takes you to your original Google Plus
Okay.
um, tech chat page. So I'll replace that with the latest link that you have. So
Okay. Great. Yeah. So we'll update the button on the code contributor page on our website to make sure that it points to the latest tech chat, and and that'll be a definite place to find it.
cool, cool, cool. And then just final thoughts. I'm gonna go ahead and place a link in the comment section about our latest feature in the press. We actually got mentioned, had a little section about us on the Huffington Post. So very cool. Gonna get a decent amount of exposure. So check that out.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for thank you to everyone who joined us. We'll be doing it again sometime next week. We'll figure out exactly when and broadcast that on all our social media platforms. Might be the same time, depends on what we hear as far as what times are convenient for people. If there's a time that's more convenient for you, then feel free to drop us a line. You can just send it to our contact address on our the contact form on our website. We do check that. So, yep. Thanks for coming, everybody, and I'm going to call it a night as soon as I figure out how.